Welcome to the Social Media Connection. I'm Jay Deragon with the Relationship Economy.
This is David Bullock with the Dave Bullock Show.
And today, David and I thought we'd come together and have a little dialogue around the subject matter of social currency and all the conversations about how do you make money with social media.
That's the question of the hour. Money, the monetization, the execution, that whole bit.
Why is money so important?
Well, that's what business is all about. Business is about a transaction. Having a business that doesn't actually make any revenue, doesn't have any cash flow, you're not going to be in business very long.
Well, David, though, before you get to the cash flow and the revenue, aren't you supposed to have a relationship with the market?
That's, the relationship has to be there first because, money travels on communication lines. If there's no relationship, there's no communication, there's no revenue, no commerce there.
Okay, so do you advise companies I find companies all focused on this, how do I make currency, social currency, how to convert it to dollars? So they're consumed with that subject matter without understanding back upstream the inputs and using the technology to build those relationships.
Well, let's look at this thing. Commerce, communication, C-O-M-M,
yeah.
They kind of start in the same place.
They do.
Okay, and to be in communication with someone means you're in a conversation with someone. No conversation, no possibility of currency, at all. So, yeah, you got to move upstream. So this whole idea of social media, which is the big buzzword now, social media starts the conversation. Now, there's been a whole lot of talk about, the conversation economy and, and this relationship economy. It's stuff that you write about and it's good stuff. But at the end of the day, people do business with people.
Right.
And they don't do business with people that they don't know about. And they probably won't do business with people they don't trust. So you have to start somewhere. And social media does what? At least gives you an entry point of the conversation.
So social media kind of makes you become known. They know about you because of what your content is in context to their business. Fair enough?
Right. Know, like, and trust. If I don't know you, how in the world am I going to begin to think about you, to think about giving you money, which means we're starting so far. Okay, here's what happened, folks. There was this thing called television.
Yeah.
Okay, and television changed the whole game because all of a sudden you could put your message out in front of millions of people cheaply. At least that's what it was when it first started. And that's how it is always when it first starts because no one knows what to do. So you put this message out and it goes across the whole nation. And because they didn't know where the traffic was coming from, all they knew is that something was happening. They were making sales.
Awareness.
Isn't that something that sounds like it's happening now? We have this new thing called social media.
Yeah.
And people are just jumping into it and saying, I'm getting exposure and I'm doing this and I'm doing the other thing. The thing that I'm noticing is they're not tracking to see where those conversations are coming from and or where they're going. And you can't do that.
You can do that. I know you're a master at doing that. But when it comes to currency, taking those relationships and converting them to currency, what's the secret sauce? What say you?
Actually being in real communication with the people, at least, I won't say feigning conversation, but actually being in conversation. It's a two-way dialogue. You're going to say something to the market. Let's look at an example. Have you noticed that when you go to the movies, you feel like you're in the picture, like you're in the situation? And then if you saw that same movie star, like walking down the street or in the supermarket, just because you've seen them, you feel like you know them. Mm-hmm. Okay? That's the same thing you're doing here. This is all media. It's all a media production. Media carries a message. If you don't take your message and put it where your customers are, guess what? They're never going to see you. They're never going to know you, like you. So therefore, there's going to be no currency.
So currency starts with being known and having relationships. And then let's talk about, when we come back actually in the next segment, let's talk about how do you take those relationships and the awareness of your product or you as an individual, that you've got relationships, build trust, and how you convert them to a sale. Because that seems to be the art and science of selling, but the social media space, the social web, is anti-selling in some regard. Would you say?
I would say yes, because this whole idea of selling in social media, but guess what? Message distribution is the start of any sales process. If you have no message distribution in the marketplace, guess what? There's no possibility for a transaction. In fact, there's no possibility for marketing. There's no possibility for commerce. There's no possibility for anything because you're doing what? Winking in the dark. You know what you're doing, but no one else knows.
How did you just come up with that?
No, that's an old saying from way back.
Winking in the dark.
Winking in the dark.
I like that. So, Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you taking the time today to listen to us discuss this. David, it's always fun exchanging with you.
I say, well, you always push the right buttons and you get me to think about things I don't ordinarily think about.
So we're going to come back, though. Stay with us. We're going to come back in another segment, and we're going to talk about strategy, execution, and currency. 3 things that, without any one,
Doesn't work.
doesn't work. Thanks for joining us today.
Take care.